I'm going to start off with my dark horse this week, and that's Devin Singletary, running back for the Buffalo Bills. Listen, it was a crowded backfield last week. It didn't look all too pretty, but you know who looked the ugliest of the ugliest? No, wait. Who looked the best of the ugliest? It was Devin Singletary, 8 for 48 on the ground. He got it with the carries. He also had a couple of targets through the air. Zach Moss was no different. He was 6 for 6 in the air, 6 receptions for 21 measly yards. He could barely do anything with it. He was also 8 for 15 on the ground. Looked horrible. James Cook fumbled on his first carry of his NFL career. And no, he did not Kareem Hunt it. He was benched. Because you get the reference there, Kareem Hunt. Fumbled,
I got you.
Thank you. So with that being said, I don't know if that brings clarity to this backfield, but when you're looking at the best value, the best player, it's still Devin Singletary. He ended last year strong. He's coming into this year strong. They have a matchup this week against the Tennessee Titans, who aptly mentioned Saquon Barkley absolutely torched. I think if anyone's going to find value this season in the backfield for the Buffalo Bills, or at least in week 2, it is Devin Singletary. I love him this week. At least 12-plus touches. Maybe gets a few targets in the air, and hopefully he finds his end zone. Sleeper currently has him projected for, let's see here, about 12.5 fantasy points. Easily surpasses that. I'm going for 15, just like I did with Christian Kirk last week. He is my dark horse of the week. And we'll talk about a few guys who are going to be starting over him.
You said Singletary's your dark horse?
Dark horse of the week, baby. Any thoughts, guys?
I like it. I mean, how could you not feel any confidence, after what he displayed last week? There was a concern that the second round draft pick, James Cook, would eat in, and obviously that didn't work out. By the way, if you're in a dynasty league, try and get James Cook. Buy low on him right now.
Well, what's so funny is we all play in a few dynasty leagues with each other. And who was the main running back behind Breece Hall this year? James Cook. And then all of a sudden, right before some of these last few drafts happened that were dynasty related, it was Dameon Pierce. But for a long time, when we were drafting in June and July, it was James Cook.
Kenneth Walker, James Cook. And,
Kenneth Walker, then James Cook.
Fair enough. But James Cook was in the discussion, right? And it just goes to show that in dynasty, these guys can very easily be placeholders for quite some time before they can become relevant. Not everyone is a Saquon Barkley drafted in the first round. Not everybody is a Cam Akers, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, Jonathan Taylor of last year or 2 years ago. So temper your expectations for these rookies, because I sure got my share of James Cook, and I was very much sad. But like Gio said, I agree. He's a hole in dynasty for sure. Acquire
you buy low. Trade Darrell Henderson for him.
Look, I didn't think he was even going to play. Did he fumble or did Zach Moss fumble? I don't know.
He fumbled.
I think both of them fumbled, both Zach Moss and
I don't
James
care about
Cook,
Zach Moss. It was awful anyways, but James Cook definitely fumbled.
Look, Zach Moss didn't look as bad. Yeah.
Singletary's the guy.
Yeah.
The problem is, the guy's really Josh Allen, right? I mean, I don't really, I kind of went into this year and I didn't grab any of their running backs. It's kind of been a crap show the last few years, right? And Zach Moss, all this hype off season, I'm done with that, man. How many times have we seen this guy who plays 3 games and then he's a healthy scratch the rest of the year? I don't like it. I think James Cook eventually, whether it's this week or next week or 3 weeks from now, he's going to take Zach Moss's role, and Zach Moss will be back against the DNPs. And at that point, maybe I'll like something there. But right now, it's dude, we just watched the same thing because Stephon Diggs and Gabe Davis tore it up. Josh Allen was their leading rusher with 10 carries and 56 yards and a touchdown on the ground. Jamison Crowder had some big plays. Isaiah McKenzie had some big plays, and I saw a really cool thing about. Did you guys see what happened after he scored the touchdown?
The whole gender reveal thing.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. I thought that was awesome. But dude, that team is going to be built on the defense. And they're going to be built on Josh Allen and those wide receivers. And for me, when you have a guy like Josh Allen stiff-arming people, I can't trust any of those running backs. I think it's a bold, he had 8 points in our league. I think it's a bold dark horse, Gabe, because honestly, personally, I don't trust any of them. I might start him if I have to, right? If I don't have any better options, but, I hope that's not my RB2.
But I
That's
see
a
where
fair
Gabe
assumption.
is going with this too, because this could easily turn into a blowout where the second half, all Josh Allen does is hand the ball off and whatnot because they're up by 3 touchdowns and a field goal, and Atlanta can't do anything against that Bills defense.
No, they're going
So
against Tennessee.
Yeah, Tennessee.
I thought it was Atlanta. Oh, my bad.
Atlanta's LA.
LA. Sorry, I bad.
So
Tennessee.
here's the thing, though: is Tennessee not going to bounce back themselves? Like Derrick
I don't know,
Henry's going
man.
to
They
ball
look
out
pretty
this
crappy.
yeah, but dude, did you guys see the graph? Like I was listening to, it was on TikTok I saw, but it's Colin Coward. And they were talking about how of the 9 teams that didn't, I think it was of the 9 teams that played their quarterbacks in their first string quarterback and their first string wide receiver for even like one half of the preseason, they went 7-2. And like the ones that didn't were teams like the Bengals, the Raiders, the Titans.
Oh,
And
I
he
see
was
where
talking
you're going.
about all of the guys that didn't play in the preseason at all. They came out rough, very
Yeah.
rough. And so, yes, Tannehill didn't look good, but you know who did look good? Treylon Burks. And
Mhm.
Derrick Henry didn't look good, but it's Derrick Henry. Come on, I'm buying as low as if y'all
You're
selling
not
Derrick Henry
benching
low,
Derrick
call
Henry.
me.
All right,
At all,
really
yeah.
quick, for the sake of clip purposes, just to rewind it back. Yes, I agree with you. Josh Allen is a monster. He has high rushing upside week in and week out. I just think with the poor performance of Zach Moss and James Cook, Devin Singletary is the guy that's going to take a little bit more work on this week, and I think he finds himself fantasy success as my dark horse of the
That's
week.
fair.